Meanwhile, on the justice front, Saddam Hussein's war crimes were supposed to be a chance for the Iraqi people and the world to hear in excruciating detail trial the heinous acts that Saddam committed against his own people, and for the dictator to face justice. But many now fear that Saddam is turning the trial into a circus, and with his antics getting all the headlines and stories of rape, torture, and outright murder relegated to back pages. Paul Williams is a law professor at American University and a former legal advisor for the State Department. First, you got Saddam acting up and screaming, yelling, and talking about all this stuff. If you're a judge, what do you do?
Well, up until now, the judge has essentially given Saddam Hussein a very long leash. He wants to demonstrate that this is a free and a fair trial. But quite frankly, come December 21st, when this trial reconvenes, the judge is going to have to rein in him, prevent him from asking questions, have him go through his lawyers, have him respect the court. It
seems at this point that the judge is afraid, let me be crude about it, of getting popped. He has said he doesn't want pictures of himself. He doesn't want people to be able to hear his voice. I mean, it seems that he is more worried about being invisible than active. But as you're pointing out, at some point, he's going to have to say it's court of law. Are you suggesting, as we've seen in American courts, they just say, okay, you're in contempt. You do it again, you're out of here. They put him in handcuffs and drag him out of the courtroom?
Well, yes, this really is a test of wills between the judge and Saddam Hussein. And what the judge is now trying to do is reestablish, in a sense, psychological control over Saddam. There are a number of precedents in the Yugoslav tribunal, the Rwanda tribunal, and others for essentially keeping him in his cell or detention and allowing him to watch the case over closed circuit if he's unable to control himself in the courtroom.
Well, we've had similar cases with, I guess it's his cousin, also another member of the Takriti clan, saying, well, why don't you just kill us right now? Same thing applies. In other words, you have to have a judge now. Why is it that the judge hasn't done this? I'm a little bit surprised.
Well, this is essentially, Iraqi justice for the Iraqis. And we tend to think about, looking at Saddam and his antics and his brothers, but this is really about justice for the Iraqi people. And the judge wants to have a trial with an accurate historical record, with all of the information possible. And quite frankly, part of that is Saddam's intervention. But not so much so that Saddam can use this trial to support the insurgents, provide moral and other type of psychological support.
Because at this point, we've had a couple of instances of heart-rending testimony about people who've seen loved ones murdered and so on, but it's been a very narrow slice. Prosecution, I presume, has much more to offer.
Well, what's interesting is Saddam was fairly quiet in the first part of the trial, but after the woman testified, the first witness A, who talked about the rape and the torture, that's when he flipped into his antics. And you're going to see him do that. They have 40 witnesses lined up over the course of the next maybe 3 to 6 months. Saddam cannot maintain those type of theatrics. And I think what the Iraqis will get out of this is a very detailed, very long, very comprehensive record of what actually happened.
How long do you think the trial will last? You got Ramsey Clark in there arguing for him now. And I mean, how long could this thing drag on?
Well, the prosecution will be about 3 to 6 months, and then the defense will try to drag it on as long as possible. Because we're seeing these antics, but these are occurring during the prosecution. We haven't even turned over the podium to the defense yet. So this might actually turn out to be a year-long trial.
Wow. Paul Williams, thanks.
My pleasure.